What's up, everyone? We just got some massive news for Path of Exile 2's big new patch, the 0.2 patch, which releases in just a couple of weeks, and it's being called Dawn of the Hunt. So they showed a small teaser, like a 30-second little teaser, and in it, it shows a new class, the Huntress. So today we're going to go over that, and I'm going to go over everything you need to know about the Huntress. So even though this isn't out and they haven't really showed anything recently, there was a Gamescom like a year or two ago, and in that they were playing on the Huntress. So we've seen a few of their abilities. We've seen some of like the information of how the class works and how the gameplay works, the weapons it uses. I've watched everything. I've took some notes and I'm going to share them with you. So, you know, we can just go over everything we know so far about the Huntress and then maybe speculate a little about what might be coming. So let's get straight into it. We'll quickly just go over the trailer together. It's like a 30-second teaser. We'll go over that if you haven't seen it. Okay, so here it is. If you haven't seen it, it's really quick. Just a little teaser.
Spirit guide us. We, the mountain born, with spear and cunning. A new hunt dawns.
There it is. That's all we get. That's all we get. We get a little teaser. So that's the trailer. Now, the main things to take from this are obviously that is a new class. That is the Huntress. We do not have spears in the game. We do not have this design in the game. Some of these abilities aren't in the game. 100% is a new class. Not on top of that, they've also, you know, teased before that they have, well, they've shown before that they have the Huntress as a character in the works. 100% that's the Huntress. The things that are uncertain is if we look at it, there is a, you know, there's a man and a woman here. Is this two classes? I don't think so. I think this is just for the trailer, you know, just for cinematic purposes. But generally in game, you only have one model. So like the witch is one thing, and then the warrior is another model. You know, you can't choose what your character looks like. So I don't think we'll have the same thing. You know, I think it'll be the same thing when it comes to the Huntress. I don't think there'll be two different classes here, but who knows? It could be different for ascendancies. You know, who knows? Anyway, the main thing to take from this is the release. So there will be a live reveal at 12 p.m. at PDT in March 27th. So in a few weeks, in a couple of weeks, we're going to get a live reveal. And if you've ever seen a grinding gear reveal, it's normally a big event and they show a lot more than what we were expecting. So there's going to be, you know, some big show of everything come in. And right now we know very little. They've shown a couple of abilities. They've shown that they've teased that there's going to be new ascendancies. But yeah, this is likely going to be big. One thing I'm expecting after seeing this is there's going to be some new league mechanic. So if you think in the game right now, we have like, you know, breach, expedition, things like that. I think we're going to get one around hunting. So this patch is being called Dawn of the Hunt. And they've said whenever they do a big content release, there will likely in PoE 2, there will likely be a reset. And a lot of us are expecting that with this release on, you know, the 4th of April, there will be a reset where we all play on a new league at level 1. And I think what comes with that will be a new league mechanic around hunting, which is very, very exciting if that's the case. And when I say the word reset, by the way, that doesn't mean you're going to lose anything. I've seen some people say, oh, I've worked so hard, I don't want to lose everything. No one will lose anything. The way this usually works is when there is a new league, which is what this is. It even has a new league name, you know, Dawn of the Hunt. They will make a new server and it will be a league server, and we'll go on that server, we'll make a level 1 character and we'll play through the game all over again. And there'll be all the new changes. There'll be new ascendancies, new classes, new abilities. So new mechanics, new league mechanics. So it'll be very fresh and it'll bring people back. But if you still want to play your character as it is right now, maybe you're like still going through the story and you love your character, or you're still working towards certain things on your build, you can still play on a legacy server with everything you have right now as it is right now. So don't worry that you've lost everything. Definitely not. So I could sit here for ages and speculate on what's the Dawn of the Hunt going to be compared to what we had in the last game. You know, what's it going to be like? What are these new mechanics? But let's talk about what we know. We know the Huntress is coming. We know there is a Huntress in the game. They've shown gameplay of it before, and that teaser confirmed Huntress, right? Dawn of the Hunt, 100%. So let's talk about that. So leading up to the release of the game, they did a lot of marketing, showing off the game and talking about how mechanics in the game work. And a lot of that gameplay was with different classes. So we've already seen the Huntress being played by the devs, and they've talked through that gameplay. I've watched everything there is, and I've made notes, and I'm going to talk through everything we know so far about the Huntress. So let me pull this up now, and we'll just do it like this. So if I just grab it here, right. So most of this is from IGN. They covered a lot of this stuff a couple of Gamescoms ago. And the basics of what is coming, I'm not going to show, I don't want to get copyrighted. So I'm not going to show the full videos because there's a lot of videos, but they talk a lot about the more fine details about the game. Like, look how this animations work. Look at the monsters design in PoE 2. And the game's out, so we know all that. So let's talk just about Huntress. So what we know is in the game, they showed spear and a small shield. So they had a spear in one hand and then like a buckler. They had like a round shield on their right hand. I don't know if that means we're going to get, big shields as well. Like, can we put a warrior shield on them? Or are they going to have a new type of shield with new shield mechanics? New shield abilities. And it'll be called like small shield or buckler shield. I don't know. Or are they just going to get everything the warrior has and be able to use that as shield abilities? Who knows? The second thing is, a lot of the time when they were playing on the Huntress, they had a crossbow and they were using and talking about a lot of the crossbow abilities that are already in the game. So we already know that it's going to be using those as its core weapons. However, knowing what we know about PoE 2, if you look at the last season, one of the best mercenary builds was with the monk quarterstaff. So that means this spear can be played on other classes. So you already know if there is some good mobility, we're going to see a spear Gemling Legionnaire stat stacker that's just darting around the screen from mob to mob. If they don't change the current meta, we'll see that. But additionally, we will be able to see the Huntress take on other weapons. So we've already seen an image of, the mercenary having a sword, which is interesting. But this could also mean all of these could go on to the Huntress, which is very cool. Okay, now let's talk gameplay. Let's talk about the Huntress gameplay and how it works. So they mentioned this build is about going in and out of combat a lot, which is not like anything we've got right now. We've kind of got we've got the monk, which goes in and stays in melee range with evasion, and it has a few like long range attacks. We have the warrior, which is in combat, in melee range, and then we've got like the ranger, which is out. We've got the magic classes as well. We don't have anything which is telling you to go in and out of the fight, which is interesting, and it doesn't really make sense until you look at some of the abilities. So when you go into combat, there are things like puncture. So puncture is a dash. So you dash across the screen and you dash to your enemy, and it deals additional bleed damage the further away you are from the enemy when you dash. So if you go really far, you do even more damage, which is an interesting playstyle. But then once you're in combat, you're not a melee, so you're going to take a lot of damage. So they said it's like a risk reward for staying in combat. You have abilities like Rapid Assault, where you do like 4 spear jabs in a row, and you can roll out at any point. You can disengage at any point during those 4. But if you stay till the end, the 4th hit deals extra damage and stuns the enemy. So you're kind of like rewarded for staying in combat a little bit longer and like risking it. And then when you want to back out, you'll do a disengage. They showed backstep, which is one of the disengages. And backstep will literally just like roll you back out of combat. It's like if you've seen like rogue gameplay, it's like a cartwheel backwards, like a backflip backwards. It's kind of like that. And it gets you out of the fight into a range distance. And then, you do a few ranged abilities and you get back in. So that's a really interesting way to play. They also showed this. They showed a unique spear. This was pretty much the only item they showed. They showed this unique spear. Skills fire 2 additional times once you disengage is the main thing here. Skills fire 2 additional projectiles if the last movement skill you used was a disengage. So yeah, when you're out of the fight, then you do something like, a storm spear, and it will fire like 3 spears instead of 1. Or if you're using an already skill gem on it that gives it like 3, it would do like 5. This is a really interesting playstyle. The only other gameplay they showed was fully ranged. So they were playing with a crossbow, and they were using like armor piercing bolts, incendiary bolts, permafrost bolts. So kind of everything we already know on mercenary with the crossbow. So there's nothing too interesting to talk about there because that's already kind of like most that's in the game. The final thing really to say is elementalism. They talked a lot about elemental attacks. So they have this storm spear where they throw a storm spear, which is cool. And then they have this blazing lance where they throw like a lance out and it makes like a big line. It makes a big line down the entire screen and it's like a fiery line. But then if you throw the spear again, that fire like splits and fans out across the screen on both sides. Very, very, very exciting. But they also said we have a lot of other elemental spear attacks, elemental throw attacks in general. So I think we're going to see a lot of cool things coming from this class. It's very, very exciting. So yeah, that's pretty much everything we know about the Huntress. I'm very, very excited. I love me some fast dex classes. This has been my class for most of PoE 2, so I'm very excited. Personally, on the Atlas tree, on the passive tree, this is like the dex section, the int section. Here's like dex in hybrid. I think it's going to go here because they did show a lot of elemental abilities. I think it could go here, but if not, it will probably sit down in the dexterity section with ranger and stuff. But yeah, very, very exciting. Hopefully that helps, gives you some more insight into what the character's going to look like and how it's going to play. I would love to just show footage and talk over the footage, but it's not a PoE2. It's not by the PoE2 guys. It's not their video. It's recordings from IGN, and I don't want to get slammed for using that. You know, I like to play by the rules. So yeah, I'll link it down below though if you do want to go watch some of the Huntress gameplay. But yeah, hope you've liked the video. If you do consider subscribing to the channel. I cover everything PoE2 as soon as every little drip feed of content they give us, I'll be talking about it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.